Hi there, it's Beauty Junkie. Welcome to my channel. Today I am trying out the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude Foundation. This is a true to skin natural glow foundation and I have it in the shade number 2. This is the packaging. This is the tube. It gives you 1.18, almost 1.2 fluid ounces of product, 35 milliliters. I'm going to be trying it out for the first time with you all today. I have a new ring light. By the way, I never had one before. So I finally got one for Christmas. I don't know how I like it. There's not like a whole lot of options. There's 3 colors. I think this is like the warm one. There's like a glow one that's kind of pink. And then there's a cooler tone one. So this is warm and I feel like it matches my background a little more and is just brighter. So if you're a subscriber, you've seen my other videos. If you think this is an improvement, let me know. If you think I could use a different tone of color, temperature, let me know. So this is the cool at the brightest level. This is the pink at the brightest. And this is the warm at the brightest, or I don't know, neutral, I guess. If you like any of those tones more than this one that I'm using now, which is the neutral or warm, let me know. I think it helps brighten up my face. Certainly, I didn't really have a light that encircled my face. So I think you can see the details of my blemishes a little bit better. And hopefully you'll be able to see my foundations a little bit better. Alright, on to the foundation. I heard a lot of good things about this, so I wanted to try it. I'm not sure exactly the finish and what it's supposed to be, so we're gonna see how that goes. I will read the back. So true to skin natural glow foundation. There's not a lot of information on the packaging. This is natural glow, so I'm assuming a light coverage, dewy. I'm gonna put some on my palette and we're gonna see how this goes. This looks like it might be the right color. Just to note, I received this from Sephora. I ordered it and there's no seal on it, so hopefully this isn't used. So I want to apply some of this with a sponge and the other with my fingers, just to see if it's kind of like a tinted moisturizer, if this is something I'm going to be able to apply with my hands. So I'm going to go ahead and apply it with my fingers first, just to see how that goes. So I didn't pick up that much. I probably, oh boy, applied way too much to the palette. This feels very light, but just first impressions, applying this haphazardly with my hands, I applied too much. But it just squeezed out really easily, so we'll see. Okay. As I rub it in, it looked a little intimidating at first. This side seems to be kind of, the coverage seems to sort of dissipate as you rub it in, but it does look a little scary at first. Now my skin is a little bit finicky with foundations. I don't know if it's because I have a lot of hair on my face that, well, some of it you can see, most of it you can't. So blending in foundations is hard, and my skin just doesn't like agree with foundations, and you can usually see it. So I didn't apply a primer. I just had skincare on, but I just wanted to see like a quick, you know, hand application what this would look like. It doesn't look horrible. I am noticing it cling to my pores around here a little bit, but I can certainly go back in with a little bit more. It's really almost like a serum consistency on your fingertips. The nose is always a tricky area for me in terms of pores. This doesn't look bad, but I have a feeling this is gonna look better with a sponge, just because it has a little more pigment than I thought. It's not a lot of coverage, but the pigment is kind of sticking and laying on top of my pores a little bit instead of like becoming one with them. So we're gonna see what the other side looks like. But right away I can kind of tell isn't quite like a tinted moisturizer, not quite as. Let's just go in with the liquid silk canvas, just because a lot of you I know probably have this. Just a little bit. It's from Tatcha, if you don't know. Just gonna go over this area. I don't mind this primer. I think it smells like a lot. I don't love the packaging. It performs adequately. Alright. This is winter time, so I'm kind of in need of extra hydration this time of year. Okay. So we're gonna go in with a sponge and try this out. So definitely at first, this looks like way too much product. I think I did pour out way too much product. Because even though it's like really thin and light, there's a lot more pigment to it. And I know like when I started rubbing it out on this side, it definitely lost some of the coverage. But I think with a sponge, you're not losing that coverage as much. So I definitely have a lot more on this side. But I can tell it already looks better. I'm not sure how well this will last on me though. Just gonna cheat a little bit on the side. If you like a glowy foundation, you're probably a little more used to this kind of formulation than I am. I'm kind of getting my foot into the more dewier formulas. And this one definitely falls in that range. Natural glow. I'm curious to see if this dries down a little bit. Just a little bit. I think the color match is actually pretty good. I think it matches my neck pretty well. Even though it kind of looks very, well, not in this lighting, but in person it looks pretty peachy. But on my face, I don't know, it looks like a good match in this light. The best way to tell is a natural light though. You know, you're probably not going to see a huge difference between this side's application and this side, even though I mostly use my hands on this side and use a sponge on this side. You're visually probably not going to see that much of a difference, especially with my camera. But I will say, I think it looks good for now. it doesn't seem like the kind of foundation, and I think this kind of applies for every dewy foundation that doesn't really dry down or set on your skin, that it can transfer. If you touch your face at all, things move around. If you move your mouth a lot, talk, smile, laugh, make expressions, you know, things can sort of shift into crevices. And I think with, I don't know, a dewy foundation, things are locked in. So for me, I think I would personally definitely have to set this with a powder, like a setting powder or whatever, finishing powder, whatever you want to do. I would definitely recommend that with this one, just kind of looking at the finish of it. But if this formulation, depending on your skin type, might dry down enough for you that it doesn't really move that much. Just sort of depends on you. It does look pretty light and pretty natural. I think most of you will think this foundation looks fine on me and looks pretty good. And I would, you know, agree with you. Maybe it's just my skin right now is kind of, I don't know, really reacting to retinol and just looking a little bit more flaky. I've noticed over the weekend when I applied foundation, it wasn't quite as a smooth application as I'm used to. It had some dry areas, so could just be my skin right now. I'd have to really try this multiple times to, over the course of a few weeks, to really give you my full opinion on it. But for first impressions on my skin right now, which isn't perfect, and not that it ever is, but I think there's a little bit more, there could be some room for improvement. It could be a little bit smoother. It wasn't as easy breezy of an application that I feel comfortable applying this with my fingers. At least when my skin is a little bit more troubled. I think that, you know, using a sponge is always a safe bet if you do have textured skin or dry patches or just surface dryness, which I sometimes get because I use retinol. Because of that, I would definitely feel more comfortable wearing this with a powder. So it's been a little bit. It's a little less tacky. I think for those of you with more fine lines and wrinkles, if you don't want to apply powder, some of us don't like powder, I would just not talk, not make any facial expressions, let it dry a little bit, and pat out any creasing that you see. And you might have to do that throughout the day. Overall, it looks pretty. It looks fresh. It actually feels really nice on the skin, like texture-wise. As I said, it feels like a really slippery serum almost. Like it's really easy, but because it's like so thin, I don't know. It just kind of sits on top a little bit for me. Not horribly, it doesn't look the worst foundation ever. I like how it feels like air pretty much on my skin. But as far as it lasting, I'm not sure how long it will last and what it's going to look like. I think if, you know, a lot of people like a light foundation for the summer when you're sweaty, when you're warm. If I were to wear this in the summer, I definitely have to really set this one. And even then, it might be that kind of foundation that doesn't really last all day just because it's a really thin layer of coverage. You know, I feel like I'm pretty well covered. I could just certainly use some concealer in certain areas. But I don't feel like I need a bunch of coats to get light coverage. You definitely get some light to medium. You can see some patchiness up here. It's not like a perfect foundation, but it's not bad. I could see why people like this. If you have pretty good skin, maybe a little bit more hydrated than I am, you know, if you have dry skin, just make sure you're really hydrated. You don't have a lot of dry patches because this may cling like it does to me, but it feels nice. Like, it felt good to apply it with my hands. Just the finish with my hands, I think you're more likely to have a little more trouble. Whereas like when I use a tinted moisturizer, most of the time, like the Chantecaille Just Skin, it's creamier, and it works with my skin a little bit more, and it just kind of forgives some of my surface issues and texture. Is it the most full coverage? No, but anyways, maybe one day I will do some sides by sides, or just do a comparison video with all my light coverage tinted moisturizer foundations, so you guys can have a good comparison. Alright y'all, I am trying this again, the Neo Nude, just because I want to give it another chance. I do have skincare just applied, and I put on the Tatcha Liquid Silk Canvas, so I'm ready to go. I have my sponge. I'm not going to use my hands, and I just want to see if there is an improvement with the application and how it looks on my face on a different day. So I'm going to actually just squeeze a little bit out. This is one of those squeezy formulas, so it's really easy to squeeze a lot out. This one right here. Sorry, that one was from yesterday. So yeah, I had a little bit of trouble the first time I applied this, so just want to try it again. You know, I thought I heard positive reviews on this, but now I don't know. It's actually looking a little bit better today, but I am truly applying it like I would any other foundation. I'm using a damp sponge. It says Natural Glow Foundation, so you know, I wanted to treat this like a tinted moisturizer, but I don't really think that's what it is, even though it's really kind of thick and creamy like a tinted moisturizer. It doesn't feel particularly moisturizing though. It does, you know, when I did apply it with my hands, it did feel like a serum. So it kind of tricks you in that way. That it is kind of like a skincare product, but I think it's most like a foundation more than anything else, just a really light one. The only thing is, like, I want an easy application like a tinted moisturizer and use it with my hands, and it doesn't really seem to work with this one. Which is fine, it's just not really what I thought it was gonna be. Yeah, it's looking a lot better today with the sponge, and it probably helped quite a bit that I just applied skincare and a primer before I put this on. Otherwise, last time when I did it, it had been hours since I had applied any skincare. But this time looks better, a little smoother around my nose. My cheeks look like the product laid down a lot nicer. So it's not bad, it's just, I don't know, it's okay. It's not horrible, a little better than last time for sure. You just have to treat it like it's a foundation. Which, you know, I don't have a problem with Giorgio Armani's foundations. I really like the concealer that I always use, the Luminous Silk Concealer. I really like. It's really light, not really light, kind of a medium, not full coverage at all, but really comfortable concealer. I really like this one. I like the Luminous Silk Foundation. I haven't bought it in a while, like years. But the Neo Nude, I get like the serum-y feel of the foundation, but the Luminous Silk Concealer I really like. The light finish, lighter finish, creamier finish. It doesn't dry down. It's really easy. But the foundation does look better. Not like absolutely perfect, but definitely better than the first time. So this is maybe one of those finicky foundations where the better your skin condition is, the better this is gonna apply. Most people want a foundation that makes them look good consistently, no matter how their skin is feeling or reacting or the condition of their skin. We like something that works all the time, but I think unfortunately this is, I don't know, a lot of foundations is definitely, you know, depends on how much skincare you use, how damp your sponge was, if you used a brush instead of a sponge, if you decided to use your hands. All that stuff really affects your application and wear, no matter what you're using. But I really noticed a difference with this. So, yeah. But, you know, within the first few minutes of applying, I don't mind it. If you own this foundation, the Neo Nude, tell me what tricks and tips you have for me and for others on application. Do you find that it wears well? Do you find that you kind of have to touch up during the day? And do you use powder? Please let me know your thoughts below. If you like this video, please click like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.